from VideoView Productions. For years I've been using this unit here for transferring the 8mm and Super 8 over to video. I would import into the computer using Edius and do all my work, editing work there. Well, time to graduate. Just purchased the Moviestuff Universal machine, the 2K version as a matter of fact, and it was just delivered. It's in the other area. We haven't even opened the box yet, and I thought I would like to share this with you guys. And let's see what it looks like. It looks, first of all, it looked like it came well packaged in one big box. So it's going to take a little bit to unpack it, and so let's share that unpacking experience. Well, here we are. I got the box over here. We're going to open that up and see what's inside. Hopefully it's going to look good. Here, let's take a look at it. Okay, it's a nicely packaged box. As you can see, everything seems to be all together. Now what I ordered was a couple of gates. I got the 16, the slide, and the 8 with the Super 8. So we should be all set with that. And it's the 2K as I mentioned earlier. So it's going to be quite interesting. We're going to open that up and get a nice tight shot of what I'm going to be seeing when we remove this piece of styrofoam. Okay? Good. Starts it up. Okay, well here we are. We're going to once again take this piece of styrofoam out of here, see what's underneath. Oh, some nice goodies. We got some cables, power, USB, a nice little box here, power adapter, put them to one side. Oh, and another nice little box of goodies in here. Ooh, look at all this stuff. This looks like fun. Let's just take a quick look-see at that. Yeah. Oh, it says here 8/16 slide. Rico, that has to be one of the adapters. Lens assembly, it looks like. Allen wrench. Ooh, a lot of stuff. Okay, let's just put that down here. Nice packaging, as you can see. We take the corner packs out. Pretty neat, huh? Just like Christmas. Oh, there you got the styrofoam on the side. Oh. And down the side here. Oh, they include the take-up reel. That's nice. There you go. That's a take-up reel, plastic, just to let you know. And another piece of styrofoam. I'll put them on eBay. Oh, look at this. That's for the 16. Whoa, we're in the movies now. Look at that. Nice big plastic take-up reel. I got a few of these anyway in metal. It's got the graduations on the side so you know exactly where you are. It's awful hard to see that, but maybe you can see it. So you know how many feet. Most reels have that, although I've seen a few that didn't. Okay, now we have another box inside the box. I guess this is like the Russian doll syndrome. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to get that out of here. Oh yeah. That's got a few extra pounds to it. Okay, let's see. Oh, maybe my assistant can come over here and give me a hand. You want to get it over on that side? Hold this box down. And I'm going to see if I can pull this box. Up. Wow. Oh, I see. It's got some styrofoam at the bottom that is taped to. Yeah, there we go. I think some of this I'm going to edit out. The grunting anyway. There we go. I think that's going to be the easiest way. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, here we go. A lot of styrofoam. Okay, the assistant can pull that out of my way. There we go. Now, looking at the box, I see a couple of things that are a little unusual, especially with the cardboard. We have thumb screws, the wing nut screws here. We have it on the other side too, over here. And we'll find out why in just a moment. We're going to open this up. Okay. By the time we finish this, I think I'm going to be too tired to do any transferring. Let's see. No, I'm really glad that they packaged well. Everybody knows it's important to package it well. Oh, here comes the fun stuff. Oh, look what I see. Whoa! Nice piece of equipment. Here we go. Whoa! You want to see what I see? I'll show you. I'm going to bring the camera right over to it and let you see. Whoa. Oh, look at this. That's exciting. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to pull this out of the box piece by piece because there's individual gates and things that are stored in there. I don't want to take any chance or shots. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pull this out, put it in the other area so everybody can see what it looks like all laid out. Okay, well, here we are. Finally got it unboxed. They did a nice job boxing it, by the way, gotta say. It's quite an impressive piece of equipment. It's got a lot of weight to it, so it's not going to move around on your surface that you're working, which is nice. It's got rubber feet underneath, so it should protect the surface that you have it on. All the guides are all metal guides. They're not plastic, thank goodness. The gates, here's the 16 millimeter gate. Same size, same heft. The rollers, of course, are allocated for the 16 millimeter slide. The opening for where the light is coming in. The slide gate. The slide gate, of course, doesn't have the rollers on it, but it does have the opening at the bottom for the light to come up through. The little diffuser piece in there. The camera connections. And this, I believe, is the camera. The lenses for the camera. The spacers. Everything looks like it's in place. It looks very nicely made. Very nicely made. Roger, you did a beautiful job. The little Allen wrench. You might not want to lose that Allen wrench. What did I do with that Allen wrench? Here it is. It seems to be that little Allen wrench is going to be universal for all your work that you might want to, where you might want to adjust it. You have the wheels for locking on your film reels, and these are reverse threads. They have a nice note on here that states, note, reverse threads. You never want to forget that. Otherwise, you'd be spending a lot of time in the wrong direction. I think we've all done that from time to time. A couple little bags of goodies. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. But all we have to do now is get this adjusted and see how it works. Other than that, you do have a little card You probably asked, oh gosh, where's the book, the manual? Here it is on a card. It's not quite as easy as that, because instructions and software, there it is there, and where you have to go for it. So we'll see what happens. Well, I'm back. I've got this all set up. It was a little bit of a learning experience. I talked to Roger. He got me straightened out on a few things I want to share with you. But first, what you want to keep in mind is on the gate. This is a gate here. It was already put in place. However, one thing I had neglected at first was the fact that the sync cable was not plugged into the box in back. Let me show you that. I'm going to pick up the 16 gate instead of trying to take this apart, because they're all the same. And here's the 16 gate. Okay, same thing. Now there's a little box in back. That little box there, it looks like a telephone box with a little telephone connector. There it is there. Okay, and the cable comes out from the back of the unit. It's plugged into the unit, but it's not plugged into the gate. Make sure you plug that in. Otherwise, you're not going to get any kind of syncing with the electric eye over here. And you can tell because the eye isn't on. Well, that's the first thing. Oh, the other thing too is make sure that when you do get the gate in place, that, and it's really pretty neat how they designed this, is there's these little bumpers. Make sure that these bumpers on both sides here, now don't try to adjust them. Just make sure that when you put the gate in, that the bumpers are all the way up against the stop. The stop is already in place for you, so that when you tighten it down, keep the gate up against the bumpers, tighten it down. That way you see to it everything is in fact in alignment. Really, really important. The other thing is that I nearly overlooked. In the packing, you'll notice that the unit is screwed in through the cardboard box that it's shipped in. Keep those long screws. You're going to need one of them for this post here. This post has to be very, very stable, and it will ship with only one, which means now this post is able to move around a little bit in shipping, and it's not going to be out of alignment. You're going to need that long bolt, and put it in here, tighten it down, make sure this is dead straight. When you do that, you're going to see to it everything starts lining up for you pretty good. And one thing I did notice, the platform up here, one adjustment is not up and down this way, it's back and forth this way. But I found that with the camera going through this hole and tightening it down, the camera was not pointing straight down, it was pointing in a little bit. When it's pointing in, what happens is you can't get the adjustment forward enough, and you keep hitting the edge of the film and the edge of the gate. So what I did, I put a little shim under the front edge here, a little thin piece of cardboard. Loosen this up a little bit, lift the camera, put that shim in there, put it back down, right on the mark. It goes straight down, it's perfect. But that will avoid a lot of frustration trying to get this to be forward enough. Don't bend anything. Just get this camera so that it's in the right position. The other thing that was a little confusing for me, being that I'm not an optical engineer, is getting the optics correct over here. And I can go through that later, but there's quite a bit to it between that and making sure you know what you want to capture at and what you want for your final product. Very important to know what your setup is, and be careful with these parts here. A little on the pricey side if you have to buy them. Short of that, it's pretty straightforward. The rewind procedure is a little tricky. You got to make sure that you, in fact, have this loosened up when you go to rewind, because if you don't have this wing nut loosened up, you're going to find that it's going to pull the heck out of that film and it could break it. So make sure that's loose, and just keep a little tension on it with your hand so that it doesn't bounce around on the rewind. But other than that, it's fantastic to be able to just thread it openly. The modular design is fantastic on it. So I've been very pleased so far. The biggest problem that I had was the software, and it's because it wasn't. It's not intuitive. I spoke to Roger about it. He agreed. He said they're still doing some work on it, but it's very stable. So that's a huge positive. It's very, very stable. It doesn't crash. It does what it's supposed to do and how it's supposed to do it, and that made me real happy. No one wants to have problems with that. Now the next thing is, now this is something that drove me crazy, and I'm going to move the camera around here so that you can see it. And you're going to see this little sensor knob here. Very important. What happened in my case, I did not have this adjusted right, and I was wondering why the film kept rolling, then cutting out, and then the machine would stop. This was my problem. One of the problems anyway. The software was the other. But what happens is, if this is too far, first of all, go all the way to dead forward, and it hits a stop. Back that off to about the 11 o'clock position. If you don't have a picture at that point, go forward a little bit, and once you lock that in, it just stays there. You never have to worry about it. Not through this batch of films that I'm doing anyway. It's really a super nice design. You want to make sure that you don't. In a way, I wish they had a separate switch for forward and reverse, because I accidentally, when I brought it back home, I brought it down and I brought it right down into reverse, and it yanked on the film. So I wish I had a way to not hit the rewind accidentally. But you know, perhaps in the future, but it's not a big deal as long as you're really aware to not do that. But the machine operates smoothly, but without this being proper and without the software being proper, the unit would run fast and slow. I'd get rolling, wouldn't lock onto the frames. I was getting a little nervous. Gave Roger a call. He chuckled a little bit. He knew right off the bat. He said, I can straighten out all your problems, and sure as heck he did. The major problem was the software. The other problem was this was not adjusted right. Inside a minute, we had everything running perfect. And it's just a matter of knowing. Now, before we get to the software part of it, I wanted to bring you back to where I had mentioned about it being a little bit confused on the lens. Now, in our case, we ended up getting the slide and the, of course, the regular 8mm and 16mm gate. The 8 and 16, you use one lens. On the other one, you use a different one. Here's the other one, and it looks the same. Luckily, they do mark it. It says slide on there. If it didn't have that, I don't know if I would have even picked up on it. But that's really something that you want to keep in mind. The other thing is, you're going to notice that you have these little yellow packets. A couple of them feel like they have nothing in them, but you do. Inside there's a ring. Don't lose that little ring. That's if you want to set it up so that you have an uncropped area with the holes. It's a little brass ring inside, and I didn't even open it because I don't want to lose it. But don't lose that little ring. The other thing is, you have these little spacer pieces. You don't want to lose them either because you're going to need them. Now in this case, I got mine set up for 2K, shooting 8mm film, which is probably way over what I really need, but I've got the 2K. I'm going to use the 2K. The computer can handle it, and we got plenty of storage. Now, it doesn't tell you to put the large spacer in, but I ended up putting the large spacer in as opposed to coming all the way down on the threads here. If you come all the way down on the threads, I found that there's a little bit of shake in there. By putting the spacer in there, it keeps the open threaded area very small, and it keeps this a lot more steady, and it stays right on the film without an issue. Okay, now this is the interface, the RetroScan Universal interface. It's, once again, not totally intuitive. But once a person gives you the outline of what you need to do and how they set it up, it makes it a lot easier to understand, and it seems like it's reasonably logical. But once again, when you're not told, it's very difficult to figure out why things aren't working the way you think that they should work. The one thing to keep in mind is that this software does not operate the Universal. They're not linked as far as it actually running the unit, but it will allow it to start capturing once the unit is on. And I'll show you what I'm talking about on that. Now, there's a couple of things to also keep in mind. And I'm going to try to get a tight shot of the screen here. Okay, down here at the bottom, you're going to see you have Live, TrueView, and Preview. Forget about these down here for now. But these are what's a little bit confusing. Now, you're not going to see anything if the unit is not turned on. One way you want to do it is to go to the unit, and you want to have some light on it, but you don't necessarily want it running. So it was pretty neat that they did set up on the camera up on top here a scan and a still. So just set this up to still, and then it will allow you to come down here and have your forward button in a forward position. Notice the light just went on. The unit isn't running. That's because it's in a still position. So now you come down here and you see there's nothing up here on the screen but RS. So you want to go to live so that you can see, and you want to preview it live. So if you go to live, I'm going to back this off a little bit, and preview, there it is. It just popped up on the screen. Right now I happen to be between my frames. But that's now what you're going to be seeing is your film. Now let's say you wanted to and this is great for being able to get your unit focused in. Now, a lot of times people have an auxiliary screen. It doesn't work so well if you're trying to work on the same screen for getting a good focus, but it's ideal if you want to get a good focus on a separate screen where you have a little more real estate. In our case, we have a large screen set up right above us. It's up in here. It's okay, so you can see that, and we're going to set that up so that it's going to be able to see our so it's going to be able to see the other half. There it is. Okay, so you say, now what's this TrueView? The TrueView is great to be able to get a good focus on it. So we can say we want a TrueView. We're going to uncheck that, uncheck this. We're going to check our TrueView and live. And now what we're going to come up with, and it just takes a minute. Here it is, and I have it up here already. I already moved it up here. The way we have it set up is that this is just an extension screen. There we go. So now we can get an idea if we're focused in, looking at the our framing, and we can move that framing around with our universal. There it is, and see if we're in the right place. There it is. Okay, and that looks pretty decent. So once again, that will give you a preview. Now don't try to capture. This is where I kind of messed up, is trying to capture with this live button on, because the camera, as Roger had mentioned, is not set up to do movies and capture, and you're trying to do something that it's not designed to do. So what we need to do is to see to it that we uncheck the preview, uncheck our true, uncheck our live, and once again, here we are. Now you notice nothing else is working over here on the frame. You're going to see over in here all your information when you start capturing. So first what you do is you go back to your camera, you turn off your forward switch, the light will go out. Go up here, you turn your scan on. Now you hit your start, and okay, you'll get this dialog that says you have to tell it pretty much what album you want to put it in. So if you have different clients, you could work it that way, which is really pretty neat. I like that idea because that was a big concern. And so you double click it. Here's what we have inside this client. So what we're going to do is once again hit start. You notice nothing's happening. And you see the dialog down here? Frames, 0, feet, 0. Nothing's happening, which is right. Now, as soon as I hit this forward switch, this is going to start capturing. It's going to realize that the film is running. But you have to hit that forward switch. By hitting the start down here does not start the equipment. You have to go down here and hit the start. You got nothing going on up here, but now I'm going to hit the forward switch like I showed you. And I'm going to keep the camera on position down here so you'll see what happens. There we go. So now what we have to do is just straighten out our framing a little bit. And here we go. And get our exposure right. And we're rocking and rolling. We're capturing. You see down here what's going on? It's telling you on the frames how many feet are gone by, which is pretty cool. When you're all set to say, okay, that's all I want to capture, or the end, whatever, you hit your stop. Okay, you can then see it's still running. Hit that stop. You put your description in. Test 001. And it's reel number 6. It tells you the date. You say okay. And now you say, here it is down here, test 6. You got a big blank. You say, oh gosh, I want a thumbnail. No problem. You just double click on your on that capture. You go to your export, and we're going to click on it. Here we go. Here's our description. And here's your thumbnail image. I just put in test 001. Our thumbnail image is up here, so we're just going to slide that over to indicate what we have. There. So we say okay, and there it is. Now when you're ready to make an actual file out of this, you just simply double click. Once again, go back to your export. And here we are, 666. And we captured into 2K. Here's export and resolution aspect. But we don't want to output it in necessarily 2K. We can, if we wish. Or we might say we want to just go to NTSC since we're going to be going to just regular DVD. We click on it. Comes up with the pull down. Shows you where you are, where you'll be. Come down, NTSC, you're going to see it changes a little. There you go. You export it. It'll make its own folder. Oh, let's see, that's right. And you got to also tell it which one, because which is nice, because that way you can do them in batches, which is fantastic. And so once we export, here we are, exporting. And it's pretty quick. Once again, this is going to depend on your computer system. Hit done. You're ready to rock and roll. So now what we're going to do, just minimize this for now. We're going to open up our application. And we're going to go up to our bin. We're going to set up a new folder for now, just to show you what we're doing. And perhaps even set up a new sequence. There. And so what we're going to do is go after that. Here it is. Aspect ratio test 01006. And we're going to double click that. Here it is. And this thumbnail is not going to be the same thumbnail you set up. This is according to whatever your NLE is set up for. So if you want to change that, you could do that inside that by simply going down inside your pull down and whatever you want to do inside that. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to drop that right down in here. And you're going to see this is what we have. And we have it on our screen here. We have it on our screen there. So now we have everything just the way we should have. We can do all our editing. I have it in an AVI format, so it makes it really comfortable for our system to handle it. Now that's pretty much the whole thing with the Universal. Nice machine. I can't wait to get some big projects going on it. But just for a little, being that you're in film, there's always a little sign of nostalgia with every one of us. And this is especially for Roger. Roger, I got to show you something. I'm sure you haven't seen one of these in a while. And this is the old Cinemate, which we're now going to be retiring. Might want to even sell it. It works great. It's been a workhorse for us. I couldn't even imagine how many tens of thousands of feet we sent through it. It still works beautiful. Did a nice job on it. It was a nice little workhorse. But now we have ourselves this, and looking forward to many more years of happy motoring. I hope that's helped everybody out. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to a lot more fun in the future. Beautiful machine, a few bucks, but you get what you pay for when you're lucky. We're lucky on this one. You did a nice job. Take care. Please, feedback is always greatly appreciated, and I love the feedback. And I'll answer any questions anybody has personally, and I hope that's been a learning lesson that everybody can take home with them on this Universal and get them up to speed running quickly. Take care.